빨리 가고 싶다고 하시고 도복을 보면서 흐뭇해 하시더라고요. 그때부터 어머니의 삶이 다시 시작이 된 것 같고 지팡이를 안 짚기 시작하셨어요. 그게 진짜 놀라운 변화인 것 같습니다.
어르신들이 운동을 통해서 노년을 건강한 생활을 할 수 있게끔 도와주는 게 바로 저는 태권도라고 생각이 듭니다.
Not only did Mother experience this change, but her fellow teammates also felt reborn due to the dramatic change in their lives.
너무 좋아요. 온 세상을 다 얻은 것 같죠. 제가 태권도 전도사가 된 것 같아요.
열정이 높으신 분이죠. 그 가족 전체가 태권도 가족입니다. 아주 화목하고 건강이 넘치는 대한민국의 대표적인 태권도 가족이 아닌가 싶습니다.
We're a family that loves practicing Taekwondo, so we've embarked on a new challenge.
사실 저희 가족들이 아픔이 정말 많습니다. 제가 아침에 일어났는데 반신이 마비가 왔었고 저희 아이는 태어나자마자 인공 심박기를 달았었고 정상으로도 살기 힘들다는 진단을 받았었지만 이 아이를 보면서 기적이라는 것을 알게 됐거든요. 그래서 태권도는 행복 그 자체입니다.
태권도를 해서 강해지니까 더 자신감이 올라가고 행복해요.
I believe Taekwondo is a blessing from heaven. It has made us hopeful for the future. Every day, we're excited to see what's in store for us tomorrow. Practice it with your family. Taekwondo brings happiness.
Your gateway to Korea, Simply K-pop. Hello, I'm your Simply K-pop MC Taewi of AB6. Let's go. Then this week's Simply K-pop, Gateway to Korea, don't miss out!
Welcome to our morning edition of Arirang News. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour. President Lee Jae-myung chaired his first National Security Council meeting since taking office and stressed that peaceful coexistence with North Korea is the most realistic and practical path to safeguarding national security. South Korea's minimum hourly wage for next year has been finalized after a long debate, set at 10,320 Korean won, or around $7.50, an increase of 2.9%. Former President Yoon who was rearrested on Thursday over his failed martial law attempt, has been summoned to appear for questioning later this afternoon. The The Minimum Wage Commission has decided to raise minimum wage by 2.9% next year. This was the very first agreement between the negotiating parties in 17 years. Our Kim Bo-kyung starts us off.
Starting next year, the hourly minimum wage would be 10,320 Korean won, around $7.50. This as the Minimum Wage Commission reached an agreement on Thursday to raise the minimum wage by 290 Korean won, that is 2.9% from this year's minimum wage of 10,030 Korean won per hour. If one works a standard monthly workload of 209 hours, the new minimum wage translates to a monthly income of 2,156,881. The commission is made up of 9 representatives, each from labor, management, and the general public, obliged to review the new minimum wage by mid-July for the labor minister to make a formal announcement by early August every year. This year's decision marks the first agreement reached among the 3 sides in 17 years. If an agreement cannot be made, the increase is decided by majority vote. The 2.9% increase is the lowest first-year hike under any administration since 2000, though minimum wage increases tend to be higher than average in the first year of a new administration. During first year of the Moon Deng administration, the minimum wage was raised by more than 16%, while for the first year of the Yoon Suk-yeol administration, it went up by 5%. The management side said they agreed to the decision after much deliberation.
It was a very difficult decision, made based on the thought that it would be better to support harmony and unity as the new government begins, rather than create more conflict.
While the labor side said the government should come up with measures to help low-paid workers.
It would be the Lee Jae-myung administration's task to deal with any areas that are insufficient. It must come up with strong measures to help low-wage workers cover their living costs.
After the commission submits an agreed minimum wage for next year to the Labor Ministry, the ministry will finalize and announce it by August 5th after the review process. The new rate will take effect starting the very first day of January next year. The presidential office called the commission's decision significant and added that the government will actively ensure the minimum wage is followed through promotion, guidance, and supervision. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
President Lee Jae-myung chaired his first National Security Council meeting on Thursday afternoon. The meeting served as an opportunity to review security priorities for the second half of the year, with North Korea-related issues being one of the key items on the agenda. Our presidential office correspondent Song Yu-jin reports.
South Korean President Lee Jae-myung says peaceful coexistence with North Korea is, quote, the most realistic and practical path to safeguarding national security. He made the remarks during his first National Security Council meeting on Thursday. The president has already taken steps to de-escalate tensions, including suspending loudspeaker broadcasts along the inter-Korean border, a move that prompted the North to halt its propaganda campaign. The administration says it aims to build on that momentum.
The government will do everything it can to help people feel the Korean peninsula is becoming more peaceful and secure. There were discussions on ways to restore severed communication channels and links between the two Koreas.
This is in line with how President Lee views the path to safety.
The president noted that in matters of security, prevention is always more important than responding afterward.
When asked whether the meeting covered trade talks with the United States, Kang said the discussions explored a range of options, with national interests as the top priority. South Korea is pursuing what it calls a package deal, which was discussed earlier this week in Washington between National Security Advisor Wi Sung-rak and his American counterpart, Marco Rubio.
Talks include issues across the board, including trade, investment, purchasing goods, and security. We suggested taking all this into a package to make progress in negotiations.
Thursday's meeting, which lasted over 2 hours, was attended by the Prime Minister, senior officials from the Ministries of Foreign Affairs, Unification, Defense, and Interior, as well as the National Intelligence Service and the Office of National Security. 송유진, Arirang News.
The annual series of ASEAN-related meetings takes place this week in Malaysia, and the sideline meetings often capture the most attention. It seems a possible trilateral between Seoul, Washington, and Tokyo is in the works. Our foreign affairs correspondent Oh Soo-young has the latest.
South Korea, the United States, and Japan are looking to hold a high-level meeting in Kuala Lumpur as tariff-related tensions run high between Washington and its partners. According to diplomatic sources, the three sides are trying to coordinate an in-person meeting during the ASEAN Regional Forum of Foreign Ministers, which runs till Friday. South Korea this year is being represented by Park Yoon-joo, the first Vice Foreign Minister, as Foreign Minister nominee Cho Hyun hasn't yet been confirmed by Parliament. If held, Park's meeting with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Japan's Foreign Minister Takeshi Iwaya would be significant. It will mark the first high-level trilateral under South Korea's Lee Jae-myung administration and fall during the first official trip to Asia made by the US Secretary. South Korea, the US and Japan are invited dialogue partners to the annual conference of 10 Southeast Asian nations, which features economic and security talks concerning the region. Tariff-related concerns are likely to dominate discussions this year, after Washington this week renewed its threat to slap reciprocal duties on over a dozen trading partners, mostly those in the Indo-Pacific. As such, America's so-called trade rebalancing is expected to be addressed in its three-way meeting as Seoul and Tokyo face 25% tariffs from August 1st. The three sides may also address North Korea's growing security threat and coordinate messaging on deterrence and denuclearization, as Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is due in Pyongyang for a strategic dialogue after the regional forum. It's uncertain how far Seoul's rhetoric might go, given the Lee administration's dovish stance so far on inter-Korean relations. Park notably did not mention North Korea in his remarks in his engagements Thursday, focusing instead on regional diplomacy. At the meeting of ASEAN and its three Northeast Asian partners, South Korea, Japan and China, Park emphasized Seoul's commitment to strengthening trilateral cooperation with Tokyo and Beijing to align with ASEAN's goals, especially amid rising uncertainty and challenges in the region. His meeting with the Japanese and Chinese ministers marks the first senior-level contact between the three sides under South Korea's new government. Earlier in the day, Park took part in the Korea-ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting to adopt an updated 5-year plan to fulfill their comprehensive strategic partnership reached last year. The new action plan includes peace, not only security, cooperation on the Korean Peninsula, along with cybersecurity, maritime issues and digital transition. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
Seoul's top trade negotiators said Thursday that Washington has shown interest in Seoul's proposal for manufacturing cooperation during their recent talks, especially in the shipbuilding and semiconductor sectors. According to Seoul's Trade Minister Yo Han-gu during his trip to Washington, he held talks with U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, where he stressed South Korea's commitment to deepening manufacturing ties. The minister also called on the Trump administration to grant favorable treatment to South Korean companies when considering tariffs on imported cars, steel, and other imported goods. Yo said the U.S. side was interested in how Korean companies can contribute to the U.S. goal of rebuilding its manufacturing sector. So U.S. President Donald Trump has been ramping up pressure on South Korea, threatening to impose extra tariffs and calling on Seoul to pay more for defense. For more on what lies ahead for South Korea-U.S. relations, we're joined by Professor Kim Dong-soo, professor at Division of International and Area Studies at Pugyong National University. Professor Kim, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So South Korea's top security advisor says no exact date has been set yet for a summit between President Lee and Trump. What does this mean for bilateral relations, and when can we expect this to take place?
I think South Korea and President Lee is deliberately holding off on firm commitments until key issues like tariffs and defense cost sharing are better resolved in working level talks. President Lee may need time for the delicate issues to be handled at the working level to a great extent. Trump may also need time to focus on some urgent issues like Middle East, federal budgets, etc. also holding off could be a strategic move for Trump as well, pressuring Seoul to make more concessions before a face-to-face meeting. So coordinating a complex agendas across multiple issues takes time at both ends. I think the summit is likely to take place later this month before the August tariff implementation. Then both sides will have enough time to resolve outstanding issues and prepare a high-level meeting.
I see. And now that the tariff deadline set by U.S. President Donald Trump has been delayed by another 3 weeks, how do you think the tariff negotiations between Seoul and Washington will unfold?
I think South Korea can now pursue for more balanced terms, especially on autos, steel, and digital regulations and beef, without the pressure of an imminent deadline. Trump made clear the deadline isn't set in stone. Like if they pull out, we are open, something like that, signaling continued flexibility, but also keeping pressure alive. But eventually, Seoul is expected to propose specific concessions, relaxing beef standards, opening digital markets, and pledging increased U.S. energy, industrial, and defense equipment purchase. Also, both sides may agree on a narrow package addressing key sectors like autos, steel, and digital services.
I see. And Trump says South Korea should pay as much as $10 billion a year for the presence of American troops in Korea. How should the Korean government respond to this, as Trump continues to pressure the country to pay more?
That's huge amount. South Korea already pays $1.1 billion annually, covering 40 to 45% of non-personnel stationing costs. Seoul should reaffirm its willingness to pay a fair and mutually agreed amount. However, Seoul would also stress that $10 billion is 5 times higher than the current contribution, and that U.S. forces are also strategically vital for U.S. interest in Asia, not just for South Korea's security. Trump's $10 billion demand is a negotiation opening, I think, not a final goal. South Korea's best move is to make efforts to reduce the amount, reaffirming its alliance commitment.
Right. And what's also concerning for South Korea is that a U.S. think tank reportedly recommended a reduction of the American forces in Korea. How do you think the Korean government should handle this issue?
Actually, South Korea faces a complex challenge in responding to the think tank recommendation to significantly reduce U.S. forces on the peninsula. Washington wanted always to enhance strategic flexibility by offering South Korea-based bases and logistics infrastructure for Indo-Pacific operations. But South Korea may need the U.S. to maintain significant U.S. forces on the Korean peninsula, not just for the South Korea security, but also for U.S. strategic interest, especially to ensure that China and North Korea do not misperceive the U.S. willingness to protect South Korea.
Right. And President Lee Jae-myung said he'll focus on pragmatic diplomacy when he took office in June. How do you think he will manage relations with the United States throughout his term?
That's a tough issue, actually. President Lee is not an anti-American, but he's determined to rebalance the alliance. I think he will support the continued U.S. troops presence, but at the same time, he's likely to resist excessive cost sharing or one-sided demands, like Trump $10 billion demands, President Lee may frame their alliance as mutual, not hierarchical. President Lee's diplomacy may also include repairing ties with China, which is South Korea's top trade partner, while not undermining U.S. security cooperation. So President Lee's pragmatic diplomacy to manage relations with the United States will be issue-by-issue approach, not like an automatic agreement, because it's the administration's priority is national interest rather than alliance.
Right, it really is a tough issue. All right, Professor Kim, thank you so much for your insight today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
On the local front, the special counsel team investigating former President Yoon Suk-yeol's failed martial law bid summoned the rearrested former leader to appear for questioning later this afternoon. Our Cha Eun-kyung reports.
Special counsel Cho Eun-suk on Thursday sent a summons for former President Yoon Suk-yeol to attend questioning on Friday over his failed martial law bid. This would be the first time the former president is questioned following his rearrest early Thursday, making him the first former Korean president to be detained, released, and detained again. On Sunday, the counsel team formally accused Yoon of 5 major charges. That, on December 3rd last year, Yoon held a partial cabinet meeting to simulate approval for martial law. That he wrote a false martial law statement and later destroyed it. That he spread false information to foreign media, that he ordered the deletion of secure phone records, and that he used the Presidential Security Service to stop the police from arresting him. After a 6-hour 40-minute hearing and a review that lasted 5 hours on Wednesday, Seoul Central District Court issued the warrant at around 2 a.m. Thursday on fears that Yoon could destroy evidence. However, as Yoon did not attend his insurrection trial Thursday morning due to health issues, there are question marks over whether former President Yoon will show up. If Yoon refuses to attend the questioning again, the special counsel team could take Yoon into custody after meeting him at the detention center or try to question him there. The special counsel is scheduled to indict him on these charges within 20 days while also investigating other allegations. Cha Eun-kyung, Arirang News.
Good morning, I'm Choi Ji-hee, and this is The World Now. Beginning in the United States, a federal judge in New Hampshire has issued a nationwide preliminary injunction blocking President Donald Trump's executive order aimed at ending birthright citizenship. Judge Joseph LaPlante ruled on Thursday that when such an order is in effect, it would prevent tens of thousands of newborns, an estimated 150,000 annually, from obtaining automatic citizenship, violating the 14th Amendment's guarantee. The judge referenced the Supreme Court's recent guidance that limits the use of nationwide injunctions but allows class action mechanisms to protect constitutional rights. The judge also certified a class action lawsuit on behalf of U.S.-born children who will be impacted. The injunction applies to all U.S.-born children after February 20th, 2025. Supporters of birthright citizenship hailed the decision, while the White House called it judicially excessive. Over in Europe, Greece has temporarily halted processing asylum applications from migrants arriving by sea from North Africa. Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis, addressing Parliament on July 9th, stated that the suspension will last an initial 3 months, citing a surge of more than 7,300 arrivals on the islands of Crete and Gavdos so far this year, compared to just over 5,000 in all of 2024. The arrivals mainly from Sudan, Egypt, and Bangladesh, having been transiting through Libya. Mitsotakis described the move as an emergency response and authorized the swift return of those entering the country illegally. The government is also strengthening cooperation with Libyan authorities and deploying patrol vessels. Humanitarian groups denounced the policy as illegal and inhumane. The UN Refugee Agency also expressed serious concern, saying the right to seek asylum is a fundamental human right. An original Hermes Birkin bag designed in 1984 for Jane Birkin sold at Sotheby's Paris on Thursday for approximately $10 million, setting a new record as the most expensive handbag ever auctioned. The starting price was slightly over $1 million, with a Japanese collector winning the bid over the phone. The leather handbag, created after Birkin famously sketched it on an airplane sick bag, bears her initials JB and a fixed shoulder strap, unlike commercially sold models. Worn by Birkin for nearly 9 years, the bag was originally auctioned in 1994 to benefit HIV/AIDS charities and subsequently sold in 2000. Finally, Thailand's beloved pygmy hippo, Moo Deng, turned 1-year-old on Thursday at Khao Keo Open Zoo in Chonburi, marking her first birthday with a 4-day celebration. The festivities kicked off with over 112,000 visitors on day 1, including fans who traveled from abroad, and free entry for children under 12. Activities including a 20-kilogram tropical fruit cake, a parade, and photo exhibitions of Moo Deng. Moo Deng, whose name translates to bouncy pork, has sparked global social media fascination since her birth on July 10, 2024, drawing millions of views and boosting zoo visits.
Feeling exhausted from this prolonged heat wave? You're not alone. The intense heat in western regions will stay through the weekend. It's best if you could limit outdoor activities. Health should come first during an extreme heat wave. Stay well hydrated even if you don't feel thirsty, and avoid alcohol. We finally had a welcome break from tropical nights. No wonder the heat didn't wake me up in the middle of the night. But again, afternoon heat will continue with a heat wave warning remaining in place for most of the western regions. Seoul gets up to 36 degrees Celsius, Daegu topping out at 32, but most of the East Coast regions, including Gyeongju, Gangneung, and Ulsan, will have a heat relief, while Jeju will see some afternoon rain, while the rest of the country will be under mostly sunny skies. Jeju could see rain through the weekend, but heat will subside in the capital area with rain expected for the middle of next week. So until then, take care in this extreme heat.
That's all we have for this morning. Arirang News will be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Thanks for watching.
Building a sustainable tomorrow. Connect, innovate, and prosper. Connecting goods to goods, region to region, people to people, generation to generation. Facilitating innovation for all, closing the digital divide, building an inclusive technology ecosystem, promoting digital innovation by deepening dialogues on AI. Achieving shared prosperity, addressing global challenges, energy transition, climate change, population decline, and pandemic responses. APEC-related events continuing in Seoul, the capital of the Republic of Korea, where diverse cultures blend. Jeju, the beautiful island, blessed with UNESCO Natural World Heritage Sites. Incheon, the vibrant international city, central hub connecting Asia Pacific. Busan, the largest maritime city, centering around maritime trade and the logistics industry. And Gyeongju, the city hosting the APEC Economic Leaders Meeting, where 2,000 years of profound history and modern, trendy, and youthful energy blend in a perfect balance. Here, a new chapter of economic exchanges will unfold for a better future.
We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Friday, July 11th here in Seoul. I'm Lee Soo-jin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Brooke.
Hello, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, and Rashida is also with us.
Yes, great to be here again.
Great to have you.
Yes.
And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So it's Friday, which means that we finally made it to the end of the work week. It's the perfect time to cool off with some classic Korean summer dishes, some of which we are going to cover and recommend today. So Brooke, before we dive into our topic of the day, what are you doing to beat the heat?
Oh gosh, it's really gotten hot this week,
really
right?
has.
And I am very sensitive to heat. And for anyone who doesn't know, maybe hasn't visited Korea in the summer, sometimes they just don't turn the AC on, or they don't turn it on at full blast, which is what I would always prefer. For example, this morning when I went to the subway station, the AC wasn't on. Usually that happens because it's early morning, but just for some perspective for my American viewers out there, it was 80 degrees this morning, so it was still quite hot and muggy. So for me, the way I try to beat the heat is just stay indoors where I know I will have the AC on, which is usually my home. And thankfully I get to work from home when I'm doing my translations, so I can stay where it's very cool. And if nothing else works, just order yourself some ice cream. I think that's a great way to beat the heat.
I think staying in, eating ice cream, that sounds really great. What about you, Rashida?
Okay, so for me, I think the use of yangsan, which is the small parasol that you use to shield yourself from the sunlight, has been really helpful for me. So also, since I am a latte person, iced latte with extra heat, extra ice to beat the heat, sorry. Caught between ear and chill already, guys.
No, I actually saw you walk in with the parasol, and I was like, the moment I saw you, I was like, I actually have one too.
It's very chic. It looks very nice.
It looks quite nice.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's kind of annoying having to carry it around.
But it protects your skin, which
it does.
is
The
good.
shade really makes it worth it. So I feel you. So fine. Now moving on to our main topic. So let's talk about some of the foods Koreans enjoy during the summer. And there's really quite a variety, right? Can you tell us what some of them are, Brooke?
Yes, we are going to look through a bunch of Korean dishes today. So get ready to be very hungry. If you take a look at this graphic that our team made, it's a very beautiful graphic here. There are several different categories, and the first one is healthy food, or boyangsik in Korean. We're also going to look at cold noodle dishes and desserts later on. So samgyetang is one of those boyangsik. It's one of those foods that's really good for your health. And what it is a whole chicken that is stuffed with rice. It has ginseng, garlic, and more. Then it is slowly boiled. Now in Korea, there's a tradition of eating this samgyetang on Chobok, Jungbok, and Malbok. Those are the 3 hottest days of the summer. It's part of this whole idea that you should fight fire with fire. That's 이열치열 in Korean. Because you might be thinking, well, why on earth would I want boiling hot soup in the middle of summer? Well, that's a part of the Korean way. And the chicken is really rich in protein. It's hearty. There are other ingredients that are good for your health. So it's considered a good food to boost your overall stamina, which puts it under that boyangsik category. And we're also, again, like I said earlier, going to talk about cold noodle dishes and desserts as well.
So there's a lot to look forward to. So out of all these summer dishes, which one would you say is a must-try for visitors or anyone new to Korean food, Rashida?
Okay, so since samgyetang is one of the Korea's most iconic stamina foods, it's now considered a must-try by tourists from places like China and Japan who visit in the summer. Compared to many spicy Korean dishes, samgyetang isn't spicy at all, and it pairs well with kimchi. And so even foreigners can enjoy the taste. So there's also a dish called dak hanmari, which translates to one whole chicken, and the one in Dongdaemun. It's basically a famous tourist spot. And so the difference between those two is the ingredients, basically. While samgyetang has ginseng inside, dak hanmari, on the other hand, has potatoes, you know? So hence, both dishes have different flavor profiles.
So like you said, like samgyetang is more like medicinal, while I think for dak hanmari, it's more like a hot pot, kind of you share with people. It's a good, they're both great comfort foods though. So I think if you're looking for anything kind of safe to recommend, I think both of these dishes are quite good because like you said, they're not really spicy. So now moving on to cold noodle dishes. So when it comes to those dishes, Korea's got plenty of them, and of course, you can't talk about summer without mentioning naengmyeon. So can you explain what naengmyeon is and how popular it is, Brooke?
Of course, I definitely can. So some people, they like to fight fire with fire, like I mentioned earlier, the ERTR. But sometimes when it's hot, you really just crave something cold and refreshing. So I would say one of Korea's most iconic summer dishes is naengmyeon. This is boiled noodles, but it's not hot. It's served in icy cold broth with various toppings. And recently, naengmyeon has even become a trendy food among MZers, and Korea's naengmyeon market has grown by nearly 45% in just 2 years. In fact, one department store reported that their foreign customers at their naengmyeon restaurant went up by 20% in a year. So it's not just popular amongst Koreans, it's also popular with foreigners as well. And amongst young people, the most famous variety is Pyongyang naengmyeon. So this apparently has a more mild and subtle flavor. I've never tried it myself because my favorite cold noodle dishes are spicy. Anything with pygmy in front of it, I'm probably going to order. But what about you guys? Have you tried this very popular Pyongyang naengmyeon dish?
I'm actually quite sad to say that I haven't tried Pyongyang naengmyeon. I'm kind of embarrassed to say this actually. But I've tried the more standard Hampyeong naengmyeon, which is more, it's bolder, it's a bit chewier, and like you said, Pyongyang naengmyeon is more subtle.
Right.
So have you tried it?
Of course, I have.
Our expert.
Yes, I love it. So it's basically just plain taste actually. So, but as you go, like as you eat it, it has a little bit of charm to it. So it will make you keep eating it.
Would you say you prefer Pyongyang naengmyeon or like the more standard Hampyeong naengmyeon?
For me, I love Pyongyang naengmyeon.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I have to try it.
No,
yes,
yeah, well,
of course you do.
That's where I'm going to eat, and yeah. So, right, so there's so many different, so naengmyeon is probably the most well-known cold dish, but what else is out there for people looking for something kind of different, Rashida?
Okay, so there are so many cold noodle dishes in Korea beyond just naengmyeon. So one of my favorite is Korean-style naengmyeon, which is cold soba. Some of the most well-known options are bibimbapguksu, your favorite, and gongguksu. Gongguksu is also my favorite, so it's actually like bean-based noodle. So you've also got dishes using buckwheat like makguksu and muksabar. These are often served alongside meats like tsokbal, which is pork hock, or dakgalbi, spicy chicken. And you know what? Naengmyeon with grilled meat.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yes.
You mentioned buckwheat, cold buckwheat noodles, makguksu.
Yeah.
And just hearing that word is making me feel really excited because that is my favorite
Me
food.
too.
When is it lunchtime?
So I really like bibimbapguksu as well, like you do. But that's the one that's mixed with kind of spicy, tangy, kind of more pepper sauce. But I've been kind of into 들기름 makguksu, which is kind of tossed in perilla oils. I also recommend.
Ooh, I haven't tried that yet. I'll have to put that on my list.
It's good.
So we can't really talk about Korean summer food without mentioning desserts, and there's so many refreshing options out there. So can you walk us through some of the most popular ones?
Yes, I would say out of the 3 categories that we're covering today, this is my favorite one because I have such a sweet tooth. So one of Korea's most traditional and famous desserts has to be patbingsu. This is shaved ice that is topped with sweet red beans, or pat, and all kinds of toppings. I mean, these days people enjoy bingsu with fruit, chocolate, and many other flavors. You can go to chains and get mint chocolate bingsu if you're feeling adventurous. But what's interesting about this dessert is that while it's very accessible and affordable nowadays, back in the Joseon dynasty, bingsu was considered a luxury item because ice was very hard to come by. But of course now technology is a lot more advanced, so it's become a treat that everyone can enjoy. And I also want to mention, in addition to patbingsu, there's also hwate, which is like a fruit punch. So again, if you're looking for a cold, refreshing dessert, those are 2 options for you.
I guess we're very blessed that ice is no longer like really rare anymore.
That's right.
I can't imagine going into the summer without that's shaved ice.
Yes.
So Rashida, I know you probably tried bingsu, right? Do you like it? And what are some of the more recent bingsu trends that we've been seeing?
Okay, so actually bingsu is one of my favorite Korean summer desserts. Actually, I love the classic red bean with injeolmi, which is the powdered rice cakes and jellies. Okay, so bingsu has come a long way, and these days milk-based shaved ice is the standard. With the rise of luxury bingsu somehow hotels are even selling mango bingsu for over $100.
Wow.
And the MZ generation loves to flex with it. But lately, affordable cup bingsu from chain coffee stores has become so super popular as well. So personal size ones could cost around $3 per serving, which is pretty cheap.
Yeah.
I think that's also why it's becoming so popular, because it's so affordable, and like you said, it comes in a cup, so it's also portable.
Yes.
And there's also videos have been trending on social media that show exhausted workers trying to make these cup bingsu. And I've actually there's a chain store that I went to, and they're all sold out. So I had to visit several stores before I found one. I don't know if you've tried them.
I still haven't managed to try it.
I mean, you said you like sweet stuff, so
I do, but it's always sold out, like you said, every time I go.
I do recommend it though. If you like sweet stuff, I'm sure you will enjoy it.
I go on the hunt for it.
So we've covered a wide range of Korean summer foods today, from soups and noodles to icy desserts, and there really is something for everyone. So to get a broader sense of what's catching people's attention this season, we also asked our viewers, which Korean summer dish would you most like to try? Let's take a look at what they had to say. So naengmyeon, or cold buckwheat noodles, came out on top with 47%, followed by pakbingsu, or shaved ice topped with sweet red beans, at 28%, and samgyetang, ginseng Korean chicken soup, not far behind with 21%. And a small portion, 4%, chose other dishes. So clearly, cold noodles are the go-to flavor for beating the summer heat, and it looks like our viewers have some great taste, and some clearly have a sweet tooth too. So whatever your pick is, Korean summer food is definitely one of the best ways to cool down and just enjoy the season. So up next, we'll hear from someone in the U.S. who will share his perspective on Korean summer dishes. And that conversation is coming right after the break, so stay tuned.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
We're joined today by Kim Youngbin, who's currently a PhD student in the U.S. Hi, Youngbin. Thanks so much for connecting with us today.
Hello, thanks for having me.
So what are some Korean dishes that are popular in the U.S.? Are there any Korean summer dishes in particular that people seem to enjoy?
So one of the most interesting changes I've noticed recently is that a major grocery chain here started selling frozen Korean kimbap, and it was a huge hit. I couldn't find any for a while because they kept selling out so quickly, and they're now selling tteokbokki and even pajeon. It really feels like Korean food is becoming a major player in the ready-to-eat and frozen meals market for sure. Other than that, in terms of restaurants, I think Korean barbecue still remains the dominant image of Korean food here. But recently, I heard about a Pyongyang-style cold noodle naengmyeon restaurant opening in LA. And when I visited, I was surprised to see not just Koreans, but a lot of locals enjoying it too. I wouldn't say that any specific Korean summer dish is trending here yet, but overall, Korean cuisine is definitely becoming more popular and visible, especially across different kinds of dining and retail spaces.
Well, that is great to hear. I'm personally born and raised American, but I haven't been there, I haven't lived there in 10 years. So I'm curious, has anything changed in terms of during the summer when the weather gets really hot? Are there certain trendy foods that people are eating these days? And how do those compare to summer foods that are popular in Korea?
Well, I think in the US, I think people tend to gravitate toward cold and refreshing options like ice cream, cold salads, smoothies, and especially iced coffee. That got me thinking Korean summer dishes like cold noodle naengmyeon or shaved ice, patbingsu, as you mentioned, could actually fit in really well with this American habit of eating to cool down. Also, during sports seasons, people here love eating hot chicken wings with cold beer, which really reminds me of Korea's chimek culture with fried chicken and a beer. So, but I think Korean summer food culture particularly unique because of, like you mentioned earlier, ERTL culture, fighting heat with heat. It's not just about eating cold dishes on hot days. People also turn to hot, nourishing foods like samgyetang, Personally, I really miss samgyetang. I think I could use a little stamina and energy myself these days.
Okay. Okay, Youngbin. So anyway, you've mentioned variety of Korean foods. So if you had to recommend just one Korean summer dish, something you think everyone should try at least once, what would it be?
Yeah, honestly, I will also go with the cold noodle naengmyeon. It's cold, tangy, and refreshing. Just perfect on a hot day. The noodles are chewy, the broth is icy, and when you add that mustard and vinegar, it gives you this sharp, clean kick. And currently I live in California Central Valley, and the summer heat here often hits triple digits in Fahrenheit, and I honestly crave naengmyeon all the time. I've recommended it to a few American friends and even ordered it for them at Korean restaurants. At first, you can tell they are a little hesitant. I mean, cold soup isn't exactly what people here are used to, but I think if more people give it a try, especially paired with Korean barbecue, it could really catch on. That combo of smoky grilled meat with icy noodles is just, I mean, for me, incredibly satisfying. So if I had to pick one Korean summer dish for Americans to try at least once, it'd definitely be naengmyeon.
Great. So thank you so much for sharing your insight. I'm glad you're also telling people about Korean food over in the U.S. So thanks for connecting with us today.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we just heard from someone who's studying in the U.S. about their experience with Korean summer food and how it compares to what they eat there. So to wrap up our discussion for the day, I just want to close. We talked a lot about different types of food, but outside of food such as bingsu or naengmyeon that we've mentioned, are there any Korean dishes that you'd like to recommend in this summer heat?
Well, I have to say, talking to our guest, I really felt a lot of empathy because I remember living in California and feeling that heat. And he's so right. I think naengmyeon, especially with the meat, is such a great option. If you don't want to sit down and have a meal, my other recommendation would be street food. When you're walking down the street and the sun is just beating down on you, there is nothing better than just grabbing a snack to eat. And I want to recommend pajeon, which is this crispy scallion pancake. In Korea, there's actually a tradition of eating pajeon when it rains. And as we know, in the summer in Korea, it rains a lot. We have an entire rainy season, like an entire month where it rains. So pajeon is a great option. Again, it's got this great crispy texture, a lot of toppings. It's really popular with foreigners. Plus, it's packed with veggies and seafood. So it's not only delicious, it's also good for you.
Yes.
There's something just so cozy about eating pajeon when it's raining. I can also kind of hear my stomach growling.
I know.
So what about you, Rashida? What would you recommend?
Okay, so this is going to be my ultimate favorite. And guess what? A survey last year showed that the #1 Korean food foreigners love is actually K-chicken. So on a hot summer day, nothing beats some crispy chicken with a cold glass of draft beer or fizzy drinks. It's the perfect way to cool off. And yes.
I can confirm. That's definitely my favorite Korean food.
It feels like it's not like that typical. If fried chicken everywhere, they obviously have it in the U.S. too. But with Korea, what's really sets it apart, I feel like for me, is like the sauces.
The yum-yum. It's so special.
There's just different types of sauces. There's honey butter. There's like cheese powder. So many different things you can get.
Good.
Right. So from refreshing noodles to sweet icy treats, it is clear there's something for everyone to enjoy when the temperatures rise. So whether you're a longtime fan or just discovering these flavors, Korean summer food offers a perfect way to stay cool and satisfied all season long. And this brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation. But News Gen will be back on Monday at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. A big thanks to Brooke.
Thank you for making me hungry.
And Rashida.
And thank you so much for having me here again.
Thanks for coming in.
Yes.
And to all our viewers, thanks so much for watching. We hope you have the best weekend. We are News Generation.
How to survive in Korea. Weddings. Step 0. Attire. As a guest, dress formal to business casual. Avoid wearing all white, shorts or going topless. Step 1. Arrival time. Arrive 30 minutes prior to the wedding ceremony. Too many cars, too many halls, too many people. There are many twists and turns. Take pictures and shake hands. And write your name vertically, not horizontally, in the guest book. Step 2. Or, shibor. 50,000 won, 100,000 won, 150,000 won. Cash gifts are given in these units. Decide on the amount based on your relationship. Write your name vertically on the envelope. Step 3. Wedding etiquette. Fill up the front row. Guests have 3 duties to fulfill: clapping, cheering, and taking pictures. Step 4. Dining. Take off your jacket. This will be your seat from now on. Start with the not your everyday delicacies. Galbijjim. Yes. Bosa. Yes. Chili shrimps. Definitely yes. Kimbap. Yeah. Only if you can't live without it. No need to pile up food. You have more than one opportunity. Did you survive the wedding? Wait, did someone catch your eye? What are you waiting for? You're looking fine today.
Your gateway to